Welcome to Homework Lib.
Which of these measures is most robust or resistant to outliers? And we have four options: standard deviation, mean, range, median, or second quartile. So how do you get these? Well, for standard deviation, you take each value, you subtract the mean, you square the difference, sum the square differences, over n, square root it. For the mean, you take each value, you add them up, you divide by the sample size, or population size here. The range is the largest value minus the smallest. The median is the midpoint, half of your values above, half below. So imagine what would happen if you had an outlier. For the range, well, the outlier would be the minimum or the maximum. So that is massively going to affect the range. So it's not going to be this. The mean, well, each value has an equal effect on the mean. So your outlier is going to drag the mean towards it. So the mean is quite affected by outliers. The standard deviation you can think as the average distance between a data point and the mean. So if you have a value way out on its own, an outlier, it's going to increase the standard deviation quite a lot, because there's a huge difference between it and the mean compared to the rest of the data. So it has quite an effect. By comparison, the median isn't very affected. The median is just the middle data point. It doesn't really matter if your highest value is 100 or 1,000, it's still just the highest value. It doesn't shift the median nearly as much. So the median is the answer here, option D. Next, what can a box plot show us? So I'm going to draw a box plot. A box plot gives you 5 pieces of information: the minimum and the maximum, the first quartile, the median, and the third quartile. The median is the halfway point, while the first quartile is the 25th percentile. A quarter of the data is below it, a quarter above it, and 3/4 above it, rather. The third quartile is the 75th percentile, only a quarter of the data above it. So if we look at the answers here, quartiles, it tells us the quartiles. 5-number summary. The 5-number summary is what we call these 5 numbers that it gives us. So it directly gives us that. Possible outliers. So sometimes an outlier will be given as a dot outside the regular box plot to show that it's unusual. Sometimes it's just included and you would notice because the tails would be really unusually long. So you can see potential outliers from this. So the answer here is option D. You do not see the mean in this data set.